I'm Michael Amir, and this is Verified. Today is a very important show, a very special show. This is election season, and we, as a people, American citizens as a whole, but in particular, members of the Black and brown community, we have to start holding our leaders accountable. We have to stop letting people assign themselves as our leader, just appoint themselves as our leader. We have to start having standards for our leader. Now, I'm not talking about just athletes or celebrities or musicians. Those are artists. And yes, they're leaders of the cultural community, but I'm talking about those who come out and say, I represent Black people. I represent this community. And speaking on our behalf. The days of people just doing that have to end. The standard to be a leader, you have to, one, be honest. You can't be lying. You can't be doing politician games. You gotta be honest. You can't be a coward. You gotta be strong. You represent the people. You take what the people want, you bring that to the government, and you demand it on behalf of the people. And most importantly, you can't bend or buckle under pressure. With that said, I have to call out Cory Booker, Senator Cory Booker. Now, for those who don't know, he's a Black senator out of New Jersey. Now, most recently, he's running for president. I want to add that. And most recently, he's known for, on Juneteenth, bringing on our behalf reparations to Congress, demanding reparations. Now, let's play this clip from Cory Booker.
And so I wonder about having the last word. What happens when the last word is no words, when it's silence? And I feel a sense of anger where we are in the United States of America, where we have not had direct conversations about a lot of the root causes of the inequities and the pain and the hurt manifested in economic disparities, manifested in health disparities, manifested in a criminal justice system that is indeed a form of new Jim Crow. And so we as a nation have not yet truly acknowledged and grappled with racism and white supremacy that has tainted this country's founding and continues to persist in those deep racial disparities and inequalities today.
Now that sounded very good. That was cute. It was real tough. White supremacy and all this stuff. So speaking on behalf, he did that and felt like he was doing a good job in speaking for us. But that's talk. You will get tested. And Mr. Booker was tested. Now, there's a special kind of test. Let me introduce you to what is called the litmus test. Now, it started off as a scientific test, but it evolved. According to Webster's dictionary, it can now refer to any single factor that establishes the true character of something or causes it to be assigned to one category or another, such as political or moral issue, an opinion on that. So when it comes to Cory Booker, he was given this test. What category are you in? What kind of man are you? Are you a strong problem for us? Or are you a good Negro that we can kind of handle? They throw this test at you. Now this test is called the Farrakhan litmus test. He's not the first one. There's been dozens of these people throughout the decades. They throw these tests at people. Few passed, majority fail from what we've seen. Now, he wasn't exempt from this test. Now this all started last month when Mr. Booker was in South Carolina campaigning. Now he had a local meeting with community leaders, majority Black people. Now someone from that meeting asked about Minister Farrakhan. They wanted to know, because Minister Farrakhan is loved in the community, the people, not the government and the powerful corporate media, the people level. They wanted to know, would you meet with Minister Farrakhan? Now let's hear what Mr. Booker said to the Black people in the room. Let's play that clip.
You familiar with Minister Louis Farrakhan?
I am.
My question was, would you be willing to have an audience with him?
I live in Newark, so we have famous Mosques 25, we have Nation of Islam there. As mayor, I met with lots of folks talking to them. I've heard Minister Farrakhan's speeches for a lot of my life, so I don't feel like I need to do that, but I'm not one of these people that says I wouldn't sit down with anybody to hear what they have to say. But when I live on a neighborhood where I'm getting guys on the streets offering and selling his works, I'm very familiar with Minister Louis Farrakhan and his beliefs and his.
Okay, you gotta respect his answer. He said, I'm not one of those people who won't, but, if it came up, I would. I'm open to it. But then he went on to say, I know the brothers. He named the mosque number 25, and that's very specific. Shout out Minister Abdul Haq and Rob and the brothers doing a great job out there. But he mentioned the brothers. I know the brothers. I bought stuff. I've heard the minister's lectures my whole life growing up. Obviously, it's no hatred toward the minister. This is him talking to the people. So you gotta respect his answer. He didn't say he's a follower. He didn't say he believes in every word. There's respect there. You can respect that. Now, powerful people heard that. He's like, you know what? Let's give this guy the Farrakhan litmus test. So he goes to CNN. Now he's talking to a crowd. Now the audience of CNN, these are politicians. You're on the big stage. You now have to face, let me be honest, powerful, rich, white people. Now, let's hear what Cory Booker said under these circumstances.
I want to ask about something that you were recently asked, and that is about whether or not you would meet with Nation of Islam leader Louis Farrakhan. He's unabashedly anti-Semitic. He said, quote, you said, quote, I don't feel like I need to do that, but I'm not one of those people who says that I wouldn't sit down with anybody to hear what they have to say. Is that still where you are?
Well, first of all, that is completely taking out of context that larger conversation.
Okay, give me the context.
I will not sit down with Louis Farrakhan, period. And I reject anybody who preaches that kind of bigotry and hate towards other Americans.
His entire answer was different. So what's the truth? Were you lying to the black community or are you lying on CNN? Either way, you lied. And what this shows is that you buckled, you bent to power because you were afraid of what they're gonna say. For just saying you're open to meeting with a man who's worked in the community for over 60 years. The disrespect of that. But it shows the fear you have, Mr. Booker. Look at Mr. Booker's eyes. Is that somebody you want leading the free world? Is that the person who represents you? Dang sure doesn't represent me. Now, this isn't anything new. Minister Farrakhan has been dealing with this for decades. People who have to love him in private can't say it in public. People who have to denounce him because they want to advance in the world, especially politics. The minister spoke last month in May, particularly on this topic. A portion of it was on this topic. Let's play a clip from that.
See, we knew how hateful you are toward me, so you make me the litmus test for any black person who wants to rise in white America. You want a job, you want to work downtown, you want to be this, you want to be that. They are the doorkeepers of it all. So you can't say you like Farrakhan. You can't say, I heard him teach and my eyes came open. That's right. He saved my life. You can't say that because you'll lose something. We don't talk about these things because they know what they're going to suffer. My God. That kind of hatred is almost, no, it is not almost, it is insanity. Now, I want you to look at your brother. Saturday, God willing, I'll be 86 years old. I have never been arrested. What have I done that you would hate me like that?
Hated without a cause. The crazy part about all this is the government, the powerful people who don't like the minister know he's not anti-Semitic. They just use that to get you all upset and turn you against him. This is the man you denounce, Mr. Booker, a man who does nothing but fight for people, us, all people, particularly the people in the worst condition. And this was the minister at Nipsey Hussle's Marathon store after he passed. The family invited him to speak at Nipsey's funeral. But I have to give credit to some people. Not everybody has felt the litmus test. In particular, I want to give a shout out to a special person, Sister Tamika Mallory, who was an activist and a million other things, but a strong, powerful sister who speaks truth to power. Now, she was pressed, and she didn't denounce him. She didn't say she believed in everything he said. She didn't say she understands everything, but she said he's the GOAT. How could you not say this man is a GOAT? He's the greatest of all time for what he's done. And she stood by her word. She didn't let someone punk her. That's the point. If you feel a certain way, Mr. Booker, if in your heart you feel he is a certain way, you don't have to say you believe in everything, but you got to denounce him. You let him punk you to denounce you. That's the whole point. Don't get punked. And Miss Tamika Mallory did not get punked. I want to name a few other people who, over the span of their career, and it seems like the majority of them from the cultural community, not so much politicians. Some politicians have been strong, but I want to give a shout out to first Uncle Rush. Uncle Rush has been there for decades from the day. He's never been ashamed to say he stands with the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. I also want to give a shout out to Puff. Puff, strong, man. He don't care what nobody says. Let you know, this man is like my father. Another person, Uncle Snoop. Now, these are people who aren't cowards, who aren't afraid to say they stand with the man who sacrificed his life for us as a people. Mr. Booker, you should be ashamed of yourself. That's the main thing I want to say. And to the people watching this, be careful who you let represent you. If a man would do that, shuck and jive and lie to dodge a question and get all buckeyed, is that a man to lead you? Is that a man to lead us? No. No, Mr. Booker, you probably won't win the presidency. And when you don't win, you got to come back home. Now, when you come back home to the people, we all see what you've done. You've rejected a man who's done nothing but fight for us. And importantly, you proved you're a coward. As the minister said in the past, have some testicular fortitude. Don't be a punk. We can't have punks representing us, especially trying to demand reparations. But until you make up for this, Mr. Booker, you're canceled. You canceled yourself. And it's not about being a Muslim. It's not about believing in every word he says. It's about standing on principle and having a word and sticking to it, not saying two different things and changing it when you get scared. All right, everyone, tell me what you think. Go back and watch those videos and see if you can see the difference in what he was saying. I really want to hear your opinion. Comment below. Remember, like, share, subscribe, and tune in here every day. And if you really like the show, go get our app and subscribe. NFA Studios. NFA Studios. Type it in, it'll pop right up. Until next time, I'm Michael Amir, and this is Verified.